So let's start with this. It's Emmy season again, and you are a veteran at getting nominated, right? You were nominated in 2005 for writing for Rescue Me. You were in the acting race 2006, 2007, and then you were nominated in the TV movie slot last year for Recount.
Yes.
But you haven't won yet. So I'm here to do an Emmy intervention for you, Dennis.
I'm actually, I think I'm 0 for 8 between the Golden Globes and the Emmys. And then last year, this year, I guess it was last year, while I was at the Golden Globes for a Recount, I lost because I was a supporting actor, so that was early, and I went out to have a cigarette and to chat to some other nominees, and somebody came and grabbed me and said, you have to come back inside because Kevin Spacey asked that you get up and speak for him if he wins in the Best Actor in that category for Recount. And then I went back in, and of course he lost. So I've lost 8 times myself, and now I'm losing for other people.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Did Kevin know that when he asked you to do that?
Yeah, he was aware of that, but I think he may have momentarily just been thinking about maybe Dennis will say something funny. But
okay.
I didn't get the opportunity.
The voting at the Emmy changes every year. Are you familiar with the latest changes? What's going on? Do you follow this stuff?
Let me guess that lanky Irish Americans can get nominated but not win. Is that a new rule?
No. I think you're a classic example of why the former method of choosing Emmy nominees worked and the current method doesn't, because in 2006 and 2007 when you were nominated, they had panel systems set up. So you made the top 10 runoff when they did a popular vote at the actors branch. You submitted an episode, the panel saw it and said, gee, this guy's good, and you were nominated. Last year, they changed the system and they had the panel there, but they mixed more of the popular vote in, which the reason you have a panel is to help cable shows like Rescue Me that's on FX, and it blew the whole thing and you weren't nominated. This year, it's all popular vote, no panel, and there's going to be 6 nominees instead of 10. This is a little complicated.
I'm totally screwed.
You're not screwed. The theory is we have to figure out where in the top 10 you landed the first couple times. Did you land at number 6, at number 7, at 5?
I don't know. You know, my whole theory is I've got to get them to believe, which I'm glad to do right now here on your web chat, that I'm actually Willem Dafoe, because he's considered a better actor than I am for good reason. So, hi, I'm Willem Dafoe, and I've been starring in Rescue Me for the last 5 years. I think that'll help.
Oh, okay. Anything that'll work here, I'm all for it, Dennis.
I didn't realize. So now it's a popular vote, meaning it's really up to all of my fellow actors.
Mm-hmm. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That could be a bad thing. I mean, I only know, I know a lot of actors, but in terms of the lead actors, well, I know most of the guys that have won the last few years, just by happenstance. Kiefer's an old friend of mine, Gandolfini, who else? Who am I missing? Well, I know Hugh Laurie, I know Gabriel Byrne. Wow, I'm really screwed. Those guys know me, and I probably owe them money.
I know. You're not going to get their vote. Not in selfish Hollywood. Now, here's what the other thing you need to know. This is where I can help you, Dennis. This is where Gold Derby comes to the rescue, and that is it all comes down to picking a sample episode to ship on the campaign disc. I don't know what FX has put on that in the box that's now going out to Emmy voters, but assuming you get nominated, you have to pick a really good episode. And I know that there are 2 from the current season that are up for consideration, and I want to lobby you to pick one and not the other. The 2 episodes from this season are the one where you yell at your buddy and call him a fat slob, and you throw in you beat up, you kind of rough up your ex-wife there next to the fire truck a bit.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you throw in your AA chip. It's really nasty.
Yes.
It's a great performance, but it's not sympathetic. The other episode that you have that's up for consideration is the one where you're behind the bar and the ghosts are there around you. That's your Emmy episode.
Well, we happen to be on the same page. Not that I thought of it as an Emmy episode, but only because it showcases. The name of that episode is Iceman. Obviously, it's somewhat inspired by the Iceman comic, because it showcases dramatically all those actors, and the circumstances are such that it's almost theatrical. A lot of that episode, like the first 20 minutes, it's almost like a play. So that I think when we were shooting it, I thought, man, this is really not talking about myself now. Just Durning, Charles Durning, James McCaffrey, the guys that were surrounding me in that scene. Really, it's great. There's a lot of great stuff in that episode.
And you see all sides of Tommy. Tommy's a jerk, but Tommy's also heroic. Tommy's vulnerable, but he's not really obnoxious. And that's the thing Emmy contenders need to pay attention to. Remember Sarah Jessica Parker in Sex and the City? She kept winning a Golden Globe every year, but she never won the Emmy. The reason was that she kept picking obnoxious episodes of her character. You've got the same problem. You've got this edgy character, and you have to. I'm just giving you a little advice here, Dennis. When you make your submission to Emmy voters, tone down the edge a little bit and pump up. Go for those performance-heavy episodes, but tone down the obnoxiousness of Tommy.
Yeah, I think what your advice is, and correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm actually taking both of the ideas that we have in common and working them together. We want to go for the less edgy episode, but that still shows some acting chops, and quite possibly put on the box, Rescue Me Episode 8 starring Willem Dafoe. That way,
hey, there you go.
If they're not familiar with the show, they'll go, Willem Dafoe's doing this great television show. It's him and Charles Durning. It's fantastic.
Well, I think I think the Emmy intervention is complete and successful here. Yes. So what's with Tommy? Why is he so edgy and grumpy all the time?
I think a lot of this for us as writers, which is really fun, and not to mention the acting part of it, but a lot of it that it's so much fun to write is, these heroic, brave guys who do this extraordinary thing for a living, and they do it all the time. I mean, they do it, that fictional house that Tommy's based in is based on a real firehouse in New York. That's a very busy firehouse where they can, in a given night, in a given tour, which could be 2 days long, they may actually go to 7 or 8, sometimes 14 calls, and 3, 4, 5, depending upon what time of year and the circumstances, could be really dangerous fires. So that alone, doing that for a living and coming back to that firehouse and trying to avoid thinking or dwelling too much about the death that they see leads to a lot of humor, a lot of black humor, and at the same time, I think a lot of circumstances that they can't deal without. This is based on guys I really know outside the firehouse. It's hard to go home and deal with the issues of wet towels left on the bathroom floor or mowing the lawn, whatever it might be, when you've just been through 24 or 48 hours of extraordinary circumstances and you made it back, you made it alive. I think that's it's difficult. And I think that's where a lot of that stuff comes for Tommy. It comes from that and the memories. It's just trying to escape from the memories.
Are there times
it's a great thing to write. It's really a lot of fun to write.
Are there times that you don't like Tommy yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean he's not an easy guy. I mean his cousin Mickey, who's played by Bobby Burke, is a character that I think Tommy sort of bounces a lot of his sobriety off of his lack of sobriety and his religious beliefs or his lack of religious beliefs, depending upon what episode or what time in his life you're talking to him and watching him behave. I think that's an interesting guy because he tells Tommy what Tommy is. He never really has a problem telling Tommy flat out, what his behavior is about, how he's acting, what he's acting like. And, of course, that's what makes him so much fun to play as an actor, because you get to do everything. You get to do high comedy, low comedy, extreme dramatic risk, action scenes, stunt scenes. It's been a blessing in disguise. I'm never bored at work.
But why don't you move your operations to the West Coast? They have all those fires surrounding all those Beverly Hills homes all the times, and you could rescue Emmy voters. You see, you could be hauling out members of the TV Academy saying, "Look, now you owe me."
See, you're ahead of the curve on this. One of my partners, Peter Tolan, lives in outside Los Angeles. We might have to do a special Rescue Me episode where they go to a fire convention in Los Angeles and they end up saving a bevy of Emmy voters who are stuck in an Emmy viewing session at a hotel.
Yeah. And then when they go home, of course, their homes are burning because they're in the mountains there. So it's all that Santa Barbara fire stuff. So save them a second time. They didn't get the message the first time. Yeah.